Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Midnight Madness Chats with Hardman. I've got great musicians with me tonight, and they both play for different bands and have their own little projects, but they started a project together. So please introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about the project.
So my name is Meel, and I've predominantly been doing a lot of solo stuff over the last couple of years. And Matt is he'll introduce himself, but he's in a band that I'm a great fan of, and we've done like a show together, and we've always like really supported each other. We have like very similar influences as well. And then I got offered a gig at a festival, and I didn't have a lead guitarist at the time, so I asked him if he wanted to jam, and it just worked so well together, and we decided to start up our own little thing. Yeah, so that's how it came to life.
All right. Well, hey guys, I'm Matt Nijland. I am the lead guitarist in After Agatha. I am also a guitarist in the band Walk These Skies, which Hardy is wearing a shirt of. And I'm also the lead guitarist in another band called Threes and Sevens. So keeping myself busy. And yeah, as Meel said, After Agatha really started as like a coming together by absolute chance of really good musical friends. How I came into the picture was, as Meel said, she got offered a gig, which happened to be at the Misty Waters Music Festival for 2024. And she applied, but she didn't have a band, actually. Never mind just the lead guitar. She didn't have a band. So she said,
Send me band.
please band, any band, please, guys. Like, so it was like, I got a message one morning from her just saying, hey, Matt, I was wondering if you'd like to play lead guitar for me at Misty Waters. And that was a festival I'd been wanting to do for many, many years. So it was like, there was no way in hell I was going to say no. That started off, and then we got our current drummer, Thebatso, to join the band. Meel and Thebatso had played together before. We got another friend in to play bass. And it just started off as that, and it was for Meel's solo project, Meel Vignetting. So it was very much something of, learning her songs and how she wanted us to play them and stuff, which was also really fun. It was a great set of songs to get inspired by. But we realized just before we played the festival that, hey, we've actually got something cool here. And at the very last rehearsal before Misty Waters, because I thought it was just going to be festival one and done, and that was it, and Meel was just going to go back to completely solo. And then it's like, oh, well, let's carry on, like let's start a new band. And then next thing it developed into After Agatha.
Misty Waters is a very sought after festival here in South Africa. I myself have applied multiple times, but I think Diverted might be a little bit on the heavy side for the festival. I don't know. Tell me, when you applied and you sort of like, you actually have some feeling in your heart that this is the one. So tell me about applying and tell me about that, when you actually got accepted. How did you feel?
You know what? I've been applying for Misty for like a couple of years, and like every year I don't get in. And then last year I was just like, ugh, the frustration, like, and then I sent a message to the organizer, and I asked her, I'm like just give me like your honest feedback, even if it's like really shit, but what am I doing wrong, or what's like, why do I keep getting declined? What is there that I can do to improve myself as a musician, or like how I present myself? And she said that there's actually like absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just that they get so many applications, and they're only, like they only take, like, say for instance 4 rock bands and then 4 of these bands, so they kind of have to fill the different genres to kind of, make it more acceptable for like everyone to want to come to the festival. And I was like, okay, that makes sense, so taking from that, then obviously you need to think like, what is going to separate me from the rest of the bands in my own genre, you know, and that's something that I haven't ever really thought about, you know, because like you make music that you enjoy and you know, you like hope people enjoy it as well, but you don't really want to sell your soul and just go full commercial, you know. But then very, very lucky, she eventually reached out to me and said that they had a cancellation and she'd really like us to perform. So it was like pure luck. But yes, it was such an amazing show. Like I had so much fun, and I think everyone just enjoyed it a lot being there. The stage is great. The people were amazing. Everyone received us so well, and the organizers are amazing as well. It's really such a nice festival.
Tell me, like, because I watched you perform like literally the past weekend with your metal band, like Walking Skies. Um, so tell me about styles, because I think all three bands that you are playing in is quite different from each other in a very big sense. Actually, it's quite worlds apart. So tell me about the energy, tell me about the music, tell me about the soul of the different projects that you play for, and what is your sentiment to each band?
Well, you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head when you say that. And for me, it's because I sort of realized, and actually this Misty gig, Misty Waters gig that I played with Meel Vignetting was very much a life-changing gig for me, because it was a gig that I'd been wanting to get into, to even play Misty Waters with any capacity for a long time. And it felt like this was a gig that really mattered for me. And I'd been playing in my other band, Threes and Sevens, for a very long time. And I've always been a guy involved in the indie alternative scene in particular. That is sort of my bread and butter, where I cut my teeth for the longest time since I'd say my first proper band was like 2014. But you know, it was very much a gig where I was like, I need to really up my game here. And it made me realize that, you know, I actually really like playing indie alternative music with Threes and Sevens, and then with Meel and After Agatha. We call ourselves actually a power pop band. But the reason for that is because we all dig indie alternative music, but we want to make it fun. We want to keep the fun elements in it. We don't want to take ourselves overly seriously, but we want to do, you know, the basics right in terms of admin and presentation, but we want to keep it fun. So like, you know, I thought power pop was actually quite a cool way of saying it, because our songs are quite, you know, catchy and fun, and they've got a nice vibe to it. And I feel a lot of the vibe comes from just Meel in general being who she is. You know, she's 40 and rocking dyed hair, and
Crazy.
you know, has the energy of a fucking 20-year-old, you know. So she's honestly, I relate to her a lot as a 26, nearly 27-year-old. I honestly feel like, you know, there is no age difference. We honestly are of the same ilk. So for me, it was very much like, this is a new inspiring project that I can fully throw myself into and still have my deep love for like alternative and indie music, but apply it in a very unique way. That's different from how Threes and Sevens does it, because in Threes and Sevens it's very much, you know, loud alternative rock for sure, but in this band I get to be more of a lead guitarist rather than a lead and rhythm guitarist, as I am in Threes and Sevens. And then to get onto the Walk These Skies part, the reason I said Misty Waters was such a pivotal gig for me was because it made me realize that, dude, I can have so much fun on stage and jump around and be crazy, because I thought, you know, Misty Waters is the gig I have to show that I this is my moment, you know. And sure, we were playing 11 o'clock in the morning, so we were like, you know, the first band of the day up, and it wasn't the greatest slot in the world, but I treated it like it was the gig that mattered. I was like, I'm going to treat this like it's my Live Aid moments. And funny enough, I got asked to rejoin Walk These Skies in like literally a week or two after playing Misty Waters, which was not on the cards for me. I very much thought okay, I'll join a band with Meel and I'll carry on with that, you know, because Threes and Sevens was very much on a bit of a break at the time. And I was just going absolutely nuts, crazy on stage at Misty Waters, jumping around, flinging my guitar around, flinging my hair around, running around, jumping. It was like something primal had awoken in me, and I was like, you know what, I need to throw everything I have and the kitchen sink. And then when it came to Walk These Scars, which is metalcore, I was like, okay, no, I understand how to be on stage now. So with that band, I just freak out and have a lot of fun. So that was a very long-winded way of saying I very much took the energy from that Misty Waters gig, which was unlike any other gig I'd played, and I've now applied it to how I generally am on stage, but especially with Walk These Guys. I'm just going nuts on stage and being the clown on stage, but having fun and getting others to move around too. So you'll see that in After Agatha too, but in a more conservative way, maybe.
So if I can make a comment on that, we've obviously known each other for quite some while, and we've spoken about Walk These Guys. I think when you guys sort of you left the first time, and then just before you joined again, and you said, you know, you're not 100% sure. They asked you maybe you're going to join for a little while until they get someone. I don't remember the conversation 100%, and but I've never seen you perform like you did the past Saturday. It has definitely woken something up in your spirit that is brilliant. It's actually beautiful in a sense because, like you said, it's like this maniac that was born, and it's beautiful. It's this basically controlled chaos, and it's I fucking love it.
You're playing as well. Your playing is also like I don't want to say changed, but it's also become like so much more passionate. It's great.
Where does the name come from?
You won't believe. So our drummer Thebatso, like obviously we started jamming and we were like, we don't know what we're gonna call ourselves, but let's maybe just work on a couple of songs and feel the vibe, and then they will decide. And he's got, it's almost like a 5-page long list of potential band names, and we were like going over those names like for months. But in the meantime, he suggested that we use a placeholder, just Agatha. And for months and months, we had the little group chat as Agatha and like joked about it and everything. And we kept like exploring different names. And then by the time we were like, okay, we kind of need to make this official now, because we like need to start getting stuff out and like do a gig and whatever, you know. We were like, we all just like grew. So like Agatha grew on us, but we were like, it can't just be Agatha, it has to be like something. So we kind of threw a bunch of names around, or like added like words to it, and yeah, at the end we decided to go with After Agatha. Yeah, so weirdly nothing to do with Agatha all along, but also weirdly, you know, kind of happened at the same time, and yeah, so we're just running with it.
Sometimes the randomness in things spark creativity. We've got a song called D5, and it's literally just because the day I recorded the random riff, I couldn't like choose a name for it, so I wrote D5 on the original track, and then the song became D5.
Nice.
You know, sometimes that little spark of creativity just happens, and it's really cool. So tell me, what can we expect in the near future from After Agatha, Matt?
Well, we have our launch show on the 1st of March at Railways Cafe, which is pretty big. And we have a pretty sick lineup for that. We've got Kaylin Hill, who's a really fantastic new singer on the scene. We've also got Joy Club Cassidy, who are local legends. And we've got Lunae, who are very much also making a name for themselves right now. And Eugene, who plays bass for Lunae, also plays bass for After Agatha, and Rian, who plays rhythm guitar for After Agatha, is going to be playing with Kaylin Hill. So it's sort of a bit of a family affair, I suppose, at the launch show. And yeah, like it's just going to be an absolute vibe. So if you guys are listening to this before the 1st of March 2025, pull through to Railways. It's going to be sick. We've been writing a handful of original songs, which are sounding really, really cool, and have been written either from like old songs that never made the cut for Meel's solo work, which have since become band songs, or songs that even, you know, like there's one song called City Lights that I randomly sat down one night, picked up the guitar, and it was the first thing I started playing, the main riff, and the verse followed naturally shortly after I came up with that riff. So it's some new songs and some old songs from years gone by that never saw the light of day until now, and we've all put our stamp on it through jam sessions and writing sessions. So it's a completely new band. We got some pretty cool ideas for how we want to present this band on stage as well. So yeah, and then on the note of those original songs, hopefully recording them very, very soon and releasing them for you beautiful people.
Well, that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to hearing some music. It's always a bit of a challenge for me to interview bands that I haven't actually had the opportunity to listen to, all their music. But I know all the musicians in this band, like literally all of them, out of some project somewhere. And they all play for really, really good bands. So yeah, super excited to see this sort of like a super band that's happening right here. So tell me, this year is now obviously just started. You guys were telling me about new music shows and things like that. I know that Matt is extremely good at social media marketing and things like that. Do you have a certain criteria according to what you do your social media, or do you sort of just wing it at this point?
Yeah, I suppose for me, it's like there needs to be consistency, and there needs to be a common thread that shows people what your band is about. And I've tried for many years to apply that to Threes and Sevens, and then subsequently to Walk These Skies, and then subsequently to After Agatha. So I'm sort of running multiple things at once, and I'm actually going to go post on the After Agatha page right after this interview, funny enough. But for me, there needs to be a consistency and a thread of how your band is. What are the people like? What is your music like? What's your hiss or your vibe? For those who don't live in South Africa, know what that means. What's your vibe like? And I feel with After Agatha in particular, as I said earlier on, our whole vibe is just that we're a really fun band because we're all mates. We've all been in really cool projects over the years. And now we're kind of bringing all our unique experiences together to make something special and unique. And the vibes are just always really good with this band. There is always, you know, laughter, and there's always enjoyment when we play. And there's also spontaneity, you know, in the way that we'll start with a germ of an idea, and then it develops into something that's like, hey, this sounds like us, you know, whatever that is, and we're figuring it out. So for me, yeah, there needs to be consistency, good quality content. There needs to be sort of like even if it can be anything really. It can be pictures from gigs. It can be videos from gigs. It could be videos of your rehearsal. It could be stories of the band hanging out. It could be recording studio footage. It could be anything, just as long as it's like good quality stuff and that you keep up that consistency. You know, like right now we're doing a series at the time of this interview, Meet the Band, which we did a photo shoot with BlackRock Studios. Shout out, absolute legends. And Meel decided to take those profile individual pictures of us and apply an orange or a purple filter to them. And I sort of said, whenever I think of After Agatha, I think of orange and purple for some reason, and it sort of has become the representative colors of the band. And yeah, so we got these filters of us going out with this little bio that Meel has very lovingly written about each of us, and a little Q&A. So because we're pretty new, people want to know who we are and what we're about. And yeah, I feel something like that is a really cool way of just introing your band. And we're getting, we're gathering rather a collection of like rehearsal footage vids, and then when we play the show, we'll take that and we'll also post content. So it's sort of, I suppose, in summary, my approach to social media in general is just proof of life. Like as long as you are active and as long as you are showing people what you're doing, even if people post about your band, get them to just invite you as a collaborator, because then you don't have to post twice. They can even like get their content gets more likes. It goes in your algorithm. Post, tag your other bandmates in it, or invite them as collaborators, because then your threshold of exposure is significantly widened, and suddenly your page starts doing a lot better because you're not just fishing from one pond. So
let's walk these guys as an example. I think what you're doing is great. You're doing interesting content, like you said, interesting content, good quality content, and constant. Guys are very constant, where I think it's very difficult. I think a lot of people don't understand how much work this takes. I think you just quickly like pop a message on social media and yeah, it's done. It's not how it works. It's a lot of work, and you need constant band members, not just yourself, one member. You need something from everyone. And I'm very excited about this project, because I think there's a sort of certain musicians in our industry have a sort of like an aura around them and about them. So I've taken about an 8-year sabbatical from music for multiple reasons. And after my long silence, I decided to come back. And when I joined back into the music scene, even before like I decided I'm going to do metal, or I don't even know what's going to happen, Meel's name was there, always somewhere. So I think, being a sort of a long-standing musician in the industry has built that sort of great reputation. I think a good musician, but there's that aura, and I don't know how to explain that aura, if you know what I mean. But there are certain musicians that have that, and certain musicians that have to work their asses off and then just don't have that. So tell me about the aura, and tell me, like, where do you think it comes from?
Well, I actually also took a sabbatical because I've been in the music scene literally all my life. Like I had my first band when I was in 4th grade. Well, we were obviously not gigging, but I mean, I've been doing music all my life, and I basically, I've done everything. I've done freaking even done dance music. So, but when I came back, it actually, I was telling you earlier, my son had to go for like some brain surgeries and stuff. And there was a time where like the bills were really high, and I kind of had to like, gain like extra income. And that's when I started gigging again. And I was doing like cover gigs and stuff just to kind of get some money in. And obviously my love for music came back. And I had all these old songs that I'd written, and I started writing more songs. And I actually, that's where Meel Vignetting started, like my solo career. And I just like kept on gigging and kept on gigging. And it's been like a path. It's been like literally, I'd say the last 8 years that I've just been like gigging and gigging and gigging and doing the most. And you can't get your name out there if you don't spend some money. So it's a lot of investment, a lot of like tears as well. And there's lots of times where I felt like, oh, I'm gonna quit, because playing with other musicians, not everyone is as passionate or as professional as you are, or you're not necessarily on the same wavelength. And that's where I kind of found myself when I approached Matt. I literally just like fired everyone that was in my band. And I was like, I'm just going to do the solo. And then the whole Misty thing happened. And yeah, and I'm very grateful for everyone that's in Agatha at the moment, because everyone is passionate and everyone puts in money and puts in effort and puts in like input, you know. There's nothing worse than asking someone, what do you think of this? And they're like, nah, I'm just a bassist, you know. I'm like, no, you're a crucial part of the like writing process. And you know, and it's nice to have that now, you know, to have someone. I mean, we're all like songwriters, and we're all like very skilled in our, well, singing, but instruments, you know. And I think we all write amazing songs, and what we bring to the table together is just magical. So yeah, I'm very grateful for all the blood, sweat, and tears that's brought me to this project. And I can finally say, like, I think this is it. It's the one.
Just to add, it definitely feels to me like, you know, Misty Waters 2024, even though it was 4 year solo projects, and it was almost like, as you jokingly said, like bringing Meel Vignetting back from the dead in a way, because you were like, hey, I'm done. It's nail in the coffin. And then it's like, okay, well, I guess it's coming back now. But it's crazy to me because for 2 reasons. Number one, I remember when 3s and 7s and Meel Vignetting did a gig together, and it was like, I was watching you guys. I think you played before us or after us. I don't remember, but it was like I was watching, and I thought to myself randomly, I'd play guitar for her. Like, you had your guitarist, and I was like, I'd play guitar for Meel. Like, I've known her for years. She's great. She's got vibes. I'm like, yeah, you know. So that aura was very much present for me, you know, like even, and that was a few years ago, pre-COVID, I think. And
Yeah.
to touch on it further, if you hadn't asked me to play, you know, Misty, you know, and I hadn't had that sort of spiritual awakening, or that, you know, full circle moment where it's like, okay, I've been doing this gigging as well for many years, for like, oh Lord, I think it was like 5.5 years or something like that at that point. And I was like, you know, where am I going? You know, where am I going? What am I doing? And then suddenly I have this moment where I felt to myself, it was the moment to prove to myself, and something else just woke in me. And I'm like, I don't know what musician I'd be now if not for that experience. So it was very much like, you know, well, thanks, Meel. You know, I wouldn't be, who knows what, I probably wouldn't be half the clown I am on stage with Walk These Skies if not for you. I wouldn't be in After Agatha if not for you. I wouldn't even be nearly as busy as I am making myself as a musician now, because I've got some other drive in me now, if not for you, bro. So
But
yeah.
it goes both ways, because I think both of us was feeling exactly the same way. You know, we were both like, ugh, where do we go from here? You know, and the Misty gig really did just turn everything around for us.
And getting Thebatso out of retirement, because he'd been jet setting around the world for 2 years, and he'd just come back, and it's like, hey, come play drums. He's like, all right, yeah, sure. And then like getting Eugene on, who we'd all known, like you, me, Thebatso, we'd known for years, and sure, he's been keeping himself extremely busy with Lunae and whoever else he jams for these days. But certainly it was like, yeah, you know, like he's cool. Like, let's get him in as a bassist. And then Rian from Highway Apostles, who have also been building their name up like quite significantly. And he and I, coincidentally, last year had started becoming friendlier. In fact, we became friends, and what solidified our friendship was he came to watch Meel and I perform at Galpalooza 2024, and I invited him, you know, hey, come check it out, you know, and I had a +1 ticket, and he showed up, and then we started hanging out, and he said to me, I love being a rhythm guitarist. And then 2 weeks later, Meel's like, oh, we should get a rhythm guitarist because I just want to sing. And straight away I was like, Rian, let's get Rian. And then he's like, sure, let's do it. And that's that's how it happened. It was just like bringing the right combination of people together, and it's like stuck. So long may it continue, and long may it be fruitful.
Definitely, and he's also a great guitarist, also a very known guitarist. And I watched one of his band called Ozias also this weekend, which was phenomenal. I didn't know what to expect, to be very honest. So for me, it was a touch and go. I've heard some rumors, I've heard some stories. So female vocalist in a metal band, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So that's like always a bit of a gamble, but I think it definitely works. Guys, thank you so much for your time. If you guys want to add anything, please do that. I wish you great success. I think this project is like bound to be a success. I mean, you've got some of the best musicians in our industry. And I just want to add a little bit onto something you've said. Hardworking musicians is a very good thing to have, and passionate musicians, because something like you said, you were about to quit. I've quit Diverted Disorder in the 2-year span that I've been in this band, probably about 500 times mentally.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just, if you don't have the right people, it becomes, passion dies, and then it becomes like work.
Yeah.
Which is not the current Diverted lineup. I'm quite happy right now. You need to have people that you can sync with perfectly.
Buy our merch. It's really cool. Wait.
So these
Wow.
are limited edition shirts. They're only like exclusively being sold for this specific event. And then whenever we have new merch, then it will be something else. So this will be the very first ever batch of After Agatha shirts.
The shirts, I think, are 250 each for pre-sale. There'll be 300 Rand at the gig.
Yeah.
Beautiful quality, full color printing on the back. Yeah, we'd really appreciate it. And also, our merch handles are at After Agatha Band, one word, on Instagram, and then Facebook is also After Agatha Band. So yeah, pretty easy to find us. We don't have music out yet at the time of recording, but I'm pretty sure we will have it in the absolute near future. And yeah, just come to Railways Cafe on the 1st of March 2025 and have a vibe with us.
So that's the 1st of March, guys. Don't forget this. This is going to be a really cool show. Pretoria is always a vibe, literally one of my favorite places to play. So definitely go and see the show. It's going to be sick. Until next time, I've been Hardman.